It didn't take much more than a bottle and 2 chairs to make a speakeasy. This is what Daniel Okrent said in his book, Last Call, The Rise and Fall of Prohibition. Today, join us for some stories. Get your own bottle, glass, or mug, and relax. This is Speak Easily, and I'm your host, Krista Stauffer.
His eldest was 8-10, a week late.
Still big.
A week late, though.
My babies were the week. Okay, my babies were like. Well, first of all, my babies are early, but Leah was 3 months early, so she was a pound and 8 ounces. Yeah.
How long in the NICU?
2 months. Yeah, it was
That's
rough.
scary.
It was rough. Layla was 3 pounds 8 ounces, and
Oh,
Levi
my
was
gosh.
4 pounds 4 ounces.
See, I would be
Tiny
scared of that.
babies. Yeah.
After having like a 2-month-old birth, people would hand their infants. I'm like, this is too small.
What do I do with
This was Gabe at 6 months in the womb. I don't know what to do with this. Like,
I love it
my
so
girlfriend
much.
Megan, I always teased her because I think her first one was like 9.5 pounds and second one was like 9-10.
Good.
And I was just like, you and your huge
baby,
And
exactly.
then when I posted the night Gabe was born, she's like, you win.
Exactly. That's what you get for saying.
I don't know how that happened. I asked the doctor like the week before, can we just go ahead and take him
Yeah,
out?
because
My back hurts.
yeah.
She's like, no, you got to wait till, because he didn't want to go
Why?
anywhere. He was
Oh.
fine. He was happy.
Well, guess he was practice breathing and all that.
But let me tell you, that boy came out ready to eat.
Oh.
And he's 5'8" right now.
Yeah, I saw him. I don't know if he told you. I saw him because I got there a little bit early because
Okay.
I was doing I'm doing after
That's
school
right, yeah.
program. And I was like, oh my gosh, Gabe, because his hair is like all floppy and longer. I love
hair.
that look.
Do you?
Yeah, I like it. Well, I don't know what it looks like now, but when I saw him, it was cute because it was longer with a little bit of a wing.
It's so much hair.
Is it?
I
Yeah.
think he wants it to grow long.
Yeah. Oh,
But he doesn't have the style it's going to grow.
Exactly.
So he looks like a grungy beetle.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
and I
so
told
he
him
needs to like trim around.
he won't
maybe.
do it.
He won't. Oh,
I told him for Christmas I wanted him to cut his hair.
yeah.
He said no.
No.
He said spring.
Spring.
I don't know
Okay.
when that
What
is.
does that mean?
Spring
Okay.
of junior year of high school. I don't know. But because it's the trend to wear the hair long.
Yes.
He's trying.
He's trying,
It just
okay.
goes this way.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of
So when
down.
I saw him, it was cute. It was just a little shaggy where it wasn't like super wingy, but it was just, just right. I was like, oh my gosh. And I could tell he was trying to get out of there.
Yes.
Ooh-wee. I'm hearing some things about Minerva. Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
We might be recording, so we might pause right
Oh.
here. Yeah. So it is so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
No, I think it's the middle school thing of
Yeah.
just like your style
Yeah.
is questionable for a while there.
Yes.
I don't even remember what I wore. I think I tried to follow the trends.
Yeah.
I know in high school I did because all I wanted was a limited t-shirt, limited
Oh,
brand
yes.
shirt,
Yes.
which I got the sweatshirt for Christmas. And I wore it every week.
Okay, so Benetton wasn't out here. Oh no, it was out
It
here.
was, yeah.
So I know I'm a few years older than you. For us, it was Benetton. It was the polo Benetton with the Benetton across and Guess jeans.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to have Guess jeans, and you couldn't wear the mud, or the palmetto because it had the triangle, but you had to wear the Guess.
Was that the ones that like they were so tight you had to pull them up with the hanger? Do you remember that?
No.
There was a brand of jeans that was basically so tight on the stomach that people would lay on the bed and pull the zipper
Oh
up
my gosh.
with
I
something
don't
because they were
remember that.
that tight. I don't know. That was earlier 80s, I think.
I don't remember that. Well, I wouldn't have been able to anyway because I had a big poncho. I was in 8th grade, in middle school.
What was
it was my friend.
Structure was the other brand. The Structure, I think, was a part of like the limited brand.
Yeah, as Structure, Limited, and
Express. Learner
yes.
was
Learner, New York.
Yep.
Yes.
So those were the brands.
Yes,
And of course,
yes.
Mom was like, no.
Yes.
So I saved my birthday money and got
to get that stuff
one sweatshirt that I wore weekly.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
love
And
it.
then I stopped caring.
Then, well, was out here. Did you all wear? I forget what they're called. They were made by Bass. like the shoes that were brown, and then you
The loafer
tied
with the tie.
Yeah, you tied the shoelaces on the side. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't know if that was out here because I grew up in Connecticut, so that was a big thing.
They were here,
very preppy,
very like 88,
yes,
89 probably.
Oh, so earlier for me because again I'm older,
and well, it took time for trends to get to
also
Ohio.
come to Ohio too. Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah, I didn't have a style.
Yeah.
I remember like sweatshirts and jeans.
Yeah,
was basically that was fine.
Yeah,
for a long time.
So funny. I was very eccentric.
What did
I
you
wore
wear?
like, so I was born here, right? Or born in Cleveland and then moved there. And I had like lots of Michael Jackson-ish kinds of things. I had fishnet tights. I had leather pants. I had the shirt that had all the like fun little things. And so then I had skirts like that. And so I brought that style with me. And that didn't work out.
And that was the no.
Because it was Connecticut,
but it was cold too.
But it was where I grew up was predominantly white and very wealthy. So like that was like weirdo stuff. That's like costume stuff. That's not like you need it. So that's why I had to go to the Benetton and the Guess and like wear that. And then I got to a point where I was like, I don't even want to wear this anymore because that's not who I am. So then I did wear like a lot of skirts and dresses and things like that. Yeah.
I think I was a little bit like the skirts and dresses looking nice.
Yes.
I think I had a couple of like blazer suit outfits.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm like, I don't want that. I have a blazer that I wear mostly for auditions and like marketing events. Then I wear it. I'm like,
get it off.
No, I raided my dad's. He had a box of clothes that he had in the basement. So I wore a bunch of like weird 70s things.
See, I always wanted to wear my dad's clothes. My dad was tiny and I was bigger. So I couldn't wear his, like for sports events, you're supposed to wear your dad's, button down shirt and then you wore a tie. I could not fit my dad's shirt. Too big. So my mom had to go shopping and buy
I had a specific shirt.
I remember being so sad, like, why does my dad have to be so tiny?
I always remembered, I grew up in the children's choir and we had to wear a white button down.
Yes.
A crimson blazer. So it wasn't even red. It was like orangey red.
Okay.
A black skirt that went very modestly down the leg.
Yes.
And then we had these like what looked like Bob Evans. Not quite a bolo tie.
Like an ascot.
It was a tie that buttoned and just sort of flapped out.
Did the
And when you got, I mean, no offense, Sandy Mathias, I loved your choir, but when you got to be a teenage girl, that was not. We had to wear pantyhose and flats. And
really?
A uniformed look.
Yes.
That
But I'd rather it been like robes, right? Like choir robes.
We were a children's choir.
choir. So yeah.
Yeah, that was rough, especially like having to show up at school in my little blazer outfit. That was not cool. Well, because we performed like month of December. I think we performed about 21 of 25 days. It was insane.
Wow.
There were definitely child labor laws broken within there. I mean, we used to sing for the holiday pops. So we would carol in City Center.
Oh my gosh.
Day after Thanksgiving.
City Center.
In the pit of City Center. And then we go straight over to the Palace Theater, perform like 2 or 3 shows in a row.
Wow.
And all we learned was if the person in front of you starts to waver, you just help them sit down. Child labor. Like, I don't think that would fly today.
Oh my
We were there the entire weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was a blast. We loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Layla, I got some information and I was asking Layla if she wanted to audition just for the experience. Yeah. I'm not necessarily sure she would get in because we're still developing her voice. But I was like, it would be good experience, but I think she'd rather do plays more than, choirs.
And that's a full year commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
But that for me, it was great. Like I couldn't have learned music any better than when I was in choir.
That's why I wanted her to do that because, well, you said we were recording, so I was in that conversation there. But,
but it's so much commitment to that.
Yes.
And I did a choir in high school that was like an advanced outside choir. And it got to the point where I had to choose between that and doing shows.
Okay.
And I chose shows. I
Yep.
mean, in the long run, sure, but
yeah, but still,
it's hard to make a commitment to something.
I love
long-term.
choir. Yeah, I loved choir.
Did you do choir at Otterbein?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
concert choir.
Okay.
Freshman year,
Like girls.
everybody, well, only maybe a couple boys made concert choir, but everybody was in chorale. And then my sophomore year, I remember everybody but one made concert choir, which we thought was really, really tacky.
Yeah.
That felt really bad. Like, really, all of us make it except for one? That just seems really uncool.
I auditioned freshman year, but I was not a voice major at all because I was a BA.
Oh, that's right. You were a BA. I forgot.
Yep. So vocally, they didn't have any stake in me. So I did the women's group the first year, like
Otterbein, what is it called? Women's, yeah.
And we were singing stuff that I sang like in middle school choir with the children's choir.
Really?
Call me a snob. I will gladly say I'm a snob.
But that just means that wasn't challenging. Yeah.
No. So I didn't even audition the next year. But my sister went through concert choir and loved it. All the experiences.
Who ran the crowd? Was it Diane Weiss back then, or she was gone?
It was somebody different.
It was somebody different.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but again, like that being just an acting major.
Yes.
They weren't really like needing me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you audition for any of the opuses?
I did freshman year.
Okay.
But of course, as a freshman female, they're not gonna.
I didn't audition for either of those. I was like, that seems like so much commitment.
Again, here we are back to the commitment. Like, nah, I don't know.
Because theater was enough. Like it was a lot. And I thought, I don't want to do that extra stuff.
Were you in Columbus when you went to Otterbein? Your family was back?
No. We were in
from
Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And I came here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I learned about it through one of the like U.S. News and World Report magazines. Like
that's how we used to find out about college kids.
Yes. I don't know. You might be, a lot younger. But yeah, that was how you went to the library. Yeah. You went to the U.S. News and World Report. You looked at the different majors. You looked at the different regions and then the schools in general that were, top whatever. And then I remember there being some sort of book that I looked in. Yeah. It was like it was a college reference book or guide.
Yeah.
And it had all the colleges in there. It said what it was, if it was selective, highly selective,
I
all of that. Your GPA, like what you needed to have to get in, like the demographics of the school, like all of those things. And then so I found Otterbein that way.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I only knew the East Coast schools that my guidance counselor pushed, like NYU, Emerson, Syracuse.
Syracuse was big.
Carnegie Mellon, Yale. But Yale didn't have a musical theater program, so I was definitely not interested and definitely didn't think I had good grades, but I didn't know if I had the grades for Yale.
For you.
And so, that's how I found it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it because now I work with kids for college stuff and just the amount of information that they receive, but it's not, it's kind of like, do you get mailers like we used to?
Yeah.
I mean, being bombarded junior year with mail.
Mail. You still get mail. Levi got mail, but it was a lot of email, like every day. And I'm glad I had it sent to mine and not his because I think it would have been super overwhelming. But some schools were like, hey, we're, this and that. And then when it was recruiting for soccer, then it was even more because then the coaches were sending things too. Jeez. It was a lot. It was a lot to manage.
I mean, it's nice to feel wanted.
100%. But these young people these days for theater, all of those, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name of it?
Like Unified?
Yeah. I'm like, what? That was, I don't know if that was around when I was that age or if it was just not a huge deal, I
think it had to have been.
Yeah.
Just for the people that came out of state.
Yes.
I mean, I would say at least half of the class that we had of BFAs was out of state.
Okay.
So I don't know how else they would approve it.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely a lot. I remember going to the individual colleges to audition, but I didn't do one,
One big.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have that been easier?
It would have been easier, but it seems like there's a lot to it as well.
There is.
Yeah. And then submitting now online, you're this and that, and you have to pay for this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But it's a lot more streamlined now because they have the Accepted app.
Oh, yes. I heard of that.
Which has been a lifesaver.
Okay.
And it's very much just like, the college requirements.
Yes.
You fill this, you upload it.
Yes.
And then you're hands off,
Yes.
which is great so that you
Yes.
don't have to go and audition.
Yes.
I do say it's a benefit.
Yes.
I mean, it's the self-tape thing is not fun, but it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Because it's proved itself so much more impactful.
It seems that Otterbein, you still have to do both. Marin, she still had to audition in person and she submitted it.
They have to do their pre-screens.
That's
and
it.
Then
Okay,
they do in
gotcha.
Person.
Okay,
in person.
In person.
Sometimes in person. But they, from what I know, they get somewhere between like 500 and 1,000 submissions.
Yes.
They only call 100 of those.
My goodness.
And I think now, had I auditioned, I wouldn't get in.
Same.
Like, I would be a nursing major. No, not that, but something else. What would you do if you didn't do theater? Did you ever think about that?
I do.
Yeah.
And honestly, it would not have happened. It would have had to been something within the world of theater.
Yeah.
If I wasn't performing, it would have been, an administrator. Like I've had so many jobs within the industry.
Yeah.
But I know for certain it would be something within, you know what I mean? That world, but maybe not specifically acting.
Performing.
Yeah.
Were you musical theater then?
I was musical theater. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I know for me, like now, you have the dance audition. I was like, I took dance, but it would not have been the level these young people are at now. I'm like, oh, are you a dance major? No. I'm like, wow, you're really like.
You are in my eyes.
Compared to me,
Oh
for sure. But yeah, I was musical theater at Otterbein for 4 years.
I went for the BA, so I didn't have to do any of that.
Yes.
Just had to do monologues to get in.
Okay.
Still don't know how I made it in.
Yeah.
But
actually, dance wasn't a part of the audition
Really?
when we auditioned.
Oh,
it
it's
was
huge
just
now.
musical theater. You had to do 2 songs, 2 contrasting songs, and a monologue.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. No dance.
No dance.
No dance. Because that would have been
would
like a
yeah.
big.
But bye.
No.
Thanks for having me. That was fun. I didn't even audition. Well, because as a BA, I didn't have to audition for the.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
okay.
it was optional for us, which was also really disheartening.
Yeah.
Because we weren't looked at.
Exactly.
I mean, no offense to it, and that's something I learned the hard way was that I was in last consideration.
Yeah.
The one dance audition I had, and I see Stella every day now. We go to the same
Oh,
gym.
do you?
So
Oh my gosh.
it's always good to see her, was for West Side Story, which I probably shouldn't have done, but we know things now.
Yes.
But they had us do the dance at the gym dance. And I remember seeing it like, there's no way. And so I get up there, and of course, the only time I could do it, I had something else going on. The only time I could do it was with all the dance majors.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course.
So I'm trying to, you can't even hide in the back.
No.
And for this one, they wanted you to only wear tights and a leotard. No skirts, no shorts, no pants.
Oh.
It was your character shoes, your
Okay,
tights.
'cause
So
you had
I'm
to
already
see.
vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
were you as tall?
Just
as well?
about.
Okay, yeah.
Just
okay.
about. But I'm not a dancer.
Yeah.
And so we go through this thing. Of course, I can't do any of the moves. But for the last 16 bars, they said, we want you to improv. And I'm like, okay. So we get to that section and they let us go. And out of the corner of my eye, all these dancers are doing these big, beautiful moves.
Yes.
I'm like, whatever. I just started flirting with the boys.
Amazing.
I knew them. They weren't interested in me, so it all
Right,
worked out. But I walked off and they were like, Krista, that was fantastic. I said, thank you. Like, this is the only part of
Amazing.
this I can do, but thank
Exactly.
you. I can improv and flirt with boys. I'll do
That's
that.
amazing.
But when they say improv, that's what I thought of, not do your tours,
dance,
pirouettes or whatever they're called.
That was fantastic. That was smart.
It helped my ego a little bit that day. Of course, I didn't get cast, but it helped the ego a little bit.
Oh, talking about that. So there was one young woman who I was always called back with.
Okay.
And I was like, no, like after just once, could I get the part? She beat me out every time. I would get something else or I wouldn't get in, but I never got the part we were called back for. She always got it. And I said, you know what, Carmel? At first I was really sad, you know, of course. I'm like, actually, this is really good for your ego. Actually, it's really good for you to decide, like, this is what it's going to be like when you go out in the real world.
Except there'll be 50 more people.
Exactly. Yeah. So do you want this? Yeah. You know? And so for me, it was good, but it was really annoying because I'd always be like, congratulations. And I was sincere, but at the same time, I'm like, could you not get the role one time, please? Please, something.
Yeah.
And then senior year, I guess they did a play for me.
What show was that?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, jeez. Boy, life has changed a
Guess
little
what character I was? You're really not sure, are you?
Yeah. Like, thanks.
Becky was in that. Okay. Becky and Yosvani. Do you know Aaron Carter?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, and Ben was in it. And that also... No, wait, was Ben in it? No, because it was Sam.
Oh, Sam
Yeager got the lawyer part. So
and it was little Molly Camp, who ended up at, she played Scout.
Yeah.
And she ended up at Otterbein years later.
Did she?
She did, yeah.
Oh, wow. Very cool. I don't remember her or the little boy at all. I just remember them being blonde. But I don't, I can't conjure their faces right now. But I loved working with them. They were so cute and fun. Funny. Yeah.
Sam gave me my campus tour.
Really?
For about all the girls in the group. That solidified the desire to go to Otterbein.
Of course. Yes.
So I never worked with him because by the time he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so by the time that I got there, he was already on fall internship and he just stayed because he was getting passed.
Exactly.
But I worked with his now wife, Amber.
Yes, Amber. Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yes. Awesome. Wow.
There was, I'm getting personal on stories here today. There was a situation because, the workshop shows that get directed by seniors.
Yes.
So she was my director in that.
Oh, okay.
And I was in a 2-person romantic comedy.
Ooh, okay.
And the guy that I was working with had been a friend and everything was fine. There was one very strange rehearsal, and we had already done it for the faculty.
Okay.
And so we were just doing those last couple of rehearsals before we did it again for the public.
Okay.
And he came in and was just in this strange mood and just like, and I connect with the character and it's really frustrating. It's really hard. And he's walking back and forth and pacing. And he's like, I'm falling in love with you. I'm going to go outside now. And there was just this like. And Amber turns to me. She's like, well, we can use this.
Yes.
I was like, no. It all ended up being fine, but it was a showmance feeling.
Oh my
just
gosh.
in the moment.
Yes, but wow.
You get time with people on a stage.
You do.
Especially doing a romantic comedy.
Yes, you do. I don't remember doing the performances for faculty. When you said that, I'm like, what? I just remember doing 2 shows just for everybody. I don't remember that.
We would do one Monday at Common Hour.
Yes.
The lunch Common Hour for students and faculty.
Okay.
And then Friday was the public performance.
I see. So they had Common Hour by the time you were there. I don't remember a Common Hour.
Okay. It felt still fairly new at that point.
I don't think we had Common Hour.
Yeah, it was like Mondays.
What is that? What is that?
It was basically every Monday would be either like a workshop or just a meeting for theater folks. But it was everybody had to be a Common Hour.
Okay.
All the theater majors from every year.
Yeah, I don't remember that being a thing. I'd have to ask somebody else.
I mean, we're talking a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So, but also like because at noon, most of us were in class. So I don't think we did that. Yeah.
I think it was something that they put into the schedule. That was just, I don't think it was required, but it was you should be there.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of college is blocked out of my memory.
Yeah,
but,
listen.
I mean,
I purposefully. Now, was Katie there when you were there? Katie Robbins, was she still the costumer? Okay.
She was
so it hadn't
wonderful.
been Marcy yet. Okay.
Marcy was there too.
Oh, yeah, but she was the assistant. She wasn't like the head.
So Kate was makeup.
Oh.
So she did that end of it. And I took makeup class with her.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes, me too. All of us did.
Yes.
She was great.
So good at that. That I ended up doing a student internship with her for one of the shows.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not internship, but like private.
Yeah. But
independent study or something.
Yeah.
So I got to work on the makeup for Midsummer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And she was wonderful.
Okay. So she was both when I was there. She was the lead costume person and taught the makeup class. And then, but she's the one that taught us all how to wash clothes, like for real, like putting the soap in, the powder in first. This was before liquid was a thing, right?
Isn't that funny that we learned how to wash clothes because of costume class?
Yeah. And the thing is like, I knew how to wash clothes before that, but my mom always put the clothes in first.
Yeah.
And then the powder on top, and then just close it and let the water go in first. And she said, let the water run, then put the soap in, then put the clothes in.
Let it mix. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marcy was there by the time I got into costume shop.
Okay.
And I was so bad at sewing. Oh, I'm horrible.
Oh.
That like after the first couple classes, she would hand me a seam ripper at the beginning, and then she took me off sewing altogether. That I was just on laundry duty and ironing. It was bad. Yeah. I did not gain that sewing gene.
Wow. Okay.
And God bless her. I even told her years later because she used to do Catco costuming.
Oh, that's right.
So I had her for several shows. I'm like, why didn't you fail me?
Exactly.
Just on.
Really.
She's like, I still love you.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But I loved that we got that training.
Yes.
And
behind the
set design.
Yes. Agreed. Because at first I remember being a little bit, snooty about it. Like, that's not what I'm here for. What is that about?
But we are.
But I'm so grateful for it, because then when we all started our theater company in Chicago years later, it was amazing because we had some serious skills.
Yeah.
Carpentry skills, like other kinds of things to make things happen, like making sets and doing that kind of stuff for our theater
And it gave
company.
the appreciation for what the other half was doing in order to allow you to be on stage.
Exactly.
And I think for them having to take acting classes as well.
Oh, agreed.
They hated
it. My best friend, Keita, she did not like it, but she's like, I'm just going to do this, get it over. She's like, at least it's just one, 1 year where we had to do, what was it called again? Not crew. When you had,
It's like tech crew or run crew?
But it was like a class. Remember, it had a name. It was practicum. Oh, they didn't have, okay. So when we were there, it was called practicum.
Okay.
And you had to go to your practicum, whether it was props or whatever, and like do whatever you had to do. And then you worked on the show.
We had that, but it was just freshman year.
Oh, okay.
So I think we had one, because we were still in quarters then. So we had 1 quarter of lights, 1 quarter of set, 1 quarter of costumes.
Why do I feel like it was 2 for us? Maybe it was just 1.
They might have pulled it back. Because then you had to run crew for one of the shows.
Yes. Yep. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And lighting was not my jam.
Yeah, I never did lighting.
You never did?
I never had to do it.
I was afraid of heights, and that's how I found out. Because we had to go up into...
Oh, in Cowan you did? Ooh.
Where you have to climb the ladder that has the resting bar behind if you get tired from climbing the ladder. Like, holy shnikes. And then the slats were about, I think they were 2 inches apart, but every 8 feet, there was a 1-foot-long opening that you just stepped over.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was the first ever panic attack I ever had.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I freaked out up there, and there was no way to get out of it except to go over it.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt so stupid because one of the senior guys had been leading us through to hold my hand. It was awful.
I'm so sorry.
No, it was good to learn.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we're not going to let you go up there again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I only did, I did set. And that was for King Lear. And all I did was, for the whole show, was move a chair on and off for that 3 hours.
Sit through the whole thing.
And I did props and costumes.
Okay.
And I did costumes for, I think it may have been Pippin. So
I saw Pippin. Yeah.
Really strong.
That must have been one of the middle schools.
Okay.
Hannah saw that without looking into what the show was about.
Oh.
Ben, did you see Pippin at Otterbein?
Nope, did not.
Okay, that must have been the other middle school then.
That was Andrew Hansen and Heather McClellan.
Yep.
And Tom Ryrick.
Yep. And I remember that the school almost left because of all of the sexual undertones, and they had no idea.
It's Pippin from the 70s.
This is what happens.
Yes.
People don't look into things. It's like,
clearly they did not.
But the students are like, "Oh, I like this show."
Right. It's kind of crazy.
There's a lot of dirty in
exactly.
I love that show so much.
Oh my gosh, I do too. I can't remember who the mother was.
I mean, this was like 5 years before I got there. So I only knew because some of them were mom students, and I went because of mom.
Exactly,
to go see shows.
Of course. Yeah.
We didn't see very many, but I remember Pippin for sure.
Yeah, Pippin was great. That was really fun to work on. I think I did. Wait, did I do background vocals for Pippin too, or is that for chorus line? I know it's for chorus line.
Okay.
But I feel like we also did background vocals for Pippin, but I can't remember. But anyway, I just remember Andrew was phenomenal in that show. He worked so hard.
What is he doing now? Do you know?
I don't think he's performing as much, but I know he what is he doing? I know he does amazingly. He knits, he makes blankets and things that are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I know he was doing, I think he was doing vaudeville kinds of things for a minute there, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But I'm not in touch with him. We got back in touch during COVID, and then we haven't reconnected again. But I do know that he does amazing knit work, cool. And it's been featured places, exhibited, I should say, places. Just gorgeous.
Isn't it? Okay, so I know Ben's going to roll his eyes at this, and I know we tote Otterbein all the time about, but there are some really interesting people that came out of that program, and to see what they've done has just been astonishing.
Yes.
I actually was on the treadmill this morning watching Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
And boom, there's my classmate Maya on one of the episodes.
Oh, Maya.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, she went to Otterbein.
Maya Sayer,
yeah. Okay, because I love that show. So
and it was just a pop-up moment. But it was oh.
That's
look at that.
Cool.
And meanwhile, 2 treadmills down is Stella. So
that's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
That's what you get though from living in the same town.
Yeah, seriously. Well, and you also grew up around here too, so you probably with your mom being the voice teacher there for so long. Yeah.
So I have to ask you about speaking of voice teachers and stuff. Who did you study voice with?
My freshman year, it was Diane Weiss.
Okay.
Or Weiss. I don't remember how you pronounce that. And then after that, it was Jocelyn.
Yes, McDonald.
Who I adored and was so sad when I lost contact with her.
Yeah.
She grew my voice where I was almost confident. I was never fully confident in my voice.
I get that.
But she really built me up. Whereas previous voice teacher, it was not a good fit, unfortunately.
Jocelyn was kind of part of our growing up family.
Oh, really?
She was the Columbus Light Opera folk.
Yes, and she sang jazz and everything too. Yes, gorgeous voice. Yeah.
Oh. But I have to ask you, do you remember not the voice juries, but the ones where we would gather in the voice studio and have to sing for each other? Did they do that when you were there? I don't know if that was a thing. Basically, anybody that studied with that particular vocal coach would have to gather for like a prep for juries, and you would have to sing your material in front of your classmates.
No.
Oh, it was terrible.
The only time I remember singing in front of my classmates was there was like a musical theater, some class that Steven taught, and then just when they came to your recital. Okay. I don't ever remember singing in front of.
It was miserable.
And
because
tough.
People could comment afterward.
Oh,
that was the bad part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you'd always have one person in the class that had an opinion.
Oh, wow.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And being a non-voice major and being a VA, it was already like, I'm already less than. Do I have to do this in front of all of you?
Oh, my gosh.
But being, also being Becky's daughter.
Yes. The expectations. Yeah.
But it was... I just kind of made fun of it after a while. Yeah. Like I decided one jury, maybe I'll just go in and sing the Veruca Salt song from Willy Wonka. I should have. I would have done so much better on that one. But I would have failed. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But yeah.
The juries was tough enough to have all of the voice teachers there and giving you, critique and things like that. And when I was nervous, man, it could go pitchy, unfortunately. And it was like, I know what to do, but I was so nervous because it was David Price. It was your mom. It was Craig. It was David Devaney. It was Jocelyn. It was Diane. These are people, in my mind, if you're a voice teacher, you've got some cred. Like there's some,
you're doing.
Yeah.
It was always, I don't know how it happened every time, but I would put my name on a slot specifically that my mother was not in. And somehow it always worked out.
Oh,
there was, I think, all
sake.
but one jury that she ended up grading me, and she was very fair.
Yes. Okay.
But somehow, and I'm like, Mother, seriously. She goes, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I am not trying to mess you up. Mom was so great through college because I was hesitant to go there because she was there.
Yeah.
And she said, you can be as close or as far away as you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think by sophomore year, I was visiting her office once a week.
Yeah.
So, hi, Mom.
Yeah.
I miss you.
Now, with her being a voice teacher, she's not full-time. So did you have access to that where you got to go to Otterbein for a discount or free?
A discount.
Okay.
It was unfortunate when my sister went there.
Okay.
It was a different person that was in charge of the music program that wasn't a fan of Mom, I don't think. So Melissa only got 12.5% off, which is nothing. So what happened, this is the dumbest story. What happened was my junior year, they got somebody new in charge of the department and said, adjuncts children should get 75% off.
Yes.
So instead of just putting that within the bills, I don't know how this happened, but they wrote me a check. Don't give a 20-year-old college student a check.
Send it directly to the school.
This is why I paid for college till I was 40. Because I was like, oh my gosh, this is rent and beer. Thanks. And of course I used it on dumb things. I've got money, friends. I'll take care of this. Yeah, it was awful.
Oh
so that's how my college pay went.
That's so funny. This is literally the conversation that we had with Levi before going to school. We said, listen, it's tricky.
Yeah.
Having money and being on your own and it being like just for you to take care of and whatever. Because we had him take care of his own money early so he would get used to it. And we never told him what to spend it on. But he spent it, going out, hanging out with his friends, whatever, totally fine. But we said, but when you get to college, though, you're going to have to manage more than just going out money. It's like if you want to go out to eat, if you get groceries, if you have to buy certain things for school, if you have to pay somebody to take you somewhere, like gas money, whatever, like all of, or things that you want to you see it's cool, you want to get, like you need to be smart. He had a good old time, let's just say that. And I warned him, I said, Levi, you need to come home with some money in your pocket because when you go to work, you're not going to get paid right away. You might not get paid for 2-3 weeks after working. And we've done our giving you money. Like we're being very gracious. We're giving you something every month, but not when you're home because you're working. So
what a lovely life lesson.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So this time when he went back, he worked and he actually got a second job just out of happenstance. And then he loved it. It was doing construction. So cool. He was working at IHOP, washing dishes, bussing tables, all that, and then doing construction.
Okay.
And then he went back to school. He's like, Mom, I have this amount of money. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of money. And would you be okay with me creating a budget for you? You don't have to use it. Just something to think about. So I created a budget and I was like, toiletries, food, entertainment, like all this stuff. And I said, if you use this amount every month, you're literally going to spend close to $1,300 before you come home from school. And you have just a little over that.
It doesn't go very far. Yeah.
So now he's like, I'm not buying anything.
Funny how that tune changes.
Yeah.
We
say, no amount of preparation there's zero. I was very prepped. I had budgets. I had all of that, and they handed me the surplus for that loan, and it was like $4,000. Whole different animal. Nashville. I went to Atlanta. I mean, we spent all types of money on nothing. I have no regrets with the money, but I also have regrets with the money.
Exactly, 100%. But this is the time to learn. Like I told my son, I said, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. I did not manage my money well in college. And then I got a credit card. And then I did not manage that very well in college. And so my parents were like, we don't want to bail you out. We will, but that's one time and that's it. Because my mom was like, listen, we send you money, like you worked in the summer and we send you money every month. What is happened? Your yeah. So, and then on top of that, they were gracious where they had a credit card for me where I used that to buy my books and all that stuff. So my money was just like used in stupid ways, you know? And so I warned him, I said, I'm telling you because I literally lived it. And so then when I went back, I did it again stupidly.
Yep.
And I was like, when are you going to learn, right? When are you going to learn?
But you have to learn it that hard way.
I had to learn it the hard way. And he had to learn it the hard way. And so now he's like very, he's a little bit more cautious because I said, well, you got it out of your system. He bought ridiculous things. I mean,
they always do, though.
And because his room was the party room, right? So, because that party mean playing video games. Let me be clear about that.
But the snacks.
And the boom box thing, the big speaker that lights up and flashes. And he's like, but Mom, it wasn't that expensive. It was only like $40-$50. I'm like, but that adds up. And then we gave him my mom's TV. And because he didn't want to take a really giant TV because his roommate was bringing a giant TV, right? So he just wanted a small TV for his desk. And then I guess he didn't end up liking that TV. So then he bought a TV. I was like, this is what I'm saying. He's like, but it wasn't expensive. It was like $100. It adds up. Yep. So we had a big talk before he left for second semester. And I was like, here's my suggestion. You do how you choose. But understand you need to come home with something in your pocket because you won't have anything. So it's a hard lesson. Now with my the only money I ever got directly was just the money my parents gave me. I didn't get any like extra loan money. It all went to school. It all went to tuition. Yeah.
That was the excess because I think growing up with parents who worked in the arts and taught music, because both of them did.
Oh, they both. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Dad was a vocal music teacher at a middle school for 22 years, so we had no money ever.
Gotcha.
But I started working at 14.
Okay.
Continued that job every single break during college, and I worked a work-study job at college.
Okay.
So I had money because I was always working.
Gotcha.
Gee, what else is new? How has that changed?
I was going to say that
has not changed.
You know what Levi said to me the other day? Because he was up really late, and I was like, "Dude, you have practice. You need to get some rest." He was like, Oh, he was like studying some soccer thing. He goes, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Because he's a hard worker. Mm-hmm. And actually, I immediately thought of you.
I think I've said that quote before, yeah.
Man, I thought I was busy. I was like, Krista takes the cake. But now there's some things off of your plate now.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just learned that you're a vocalist with the Opera Columbus.
I'm not a vocalist. Oh. I am a glorified super. I'm so excited. I get to be on stage the whole time. But I'm not speaking. I'm not singing.
Oh, I see. But that's fantastic.
So excited.
So for every show. Mm-hmm. That is
for
awesome.
The next opera coming up.
That is awesome.
So it's
for the Eugene. Yes.
Eugene Onegin. So I'll tell you the story because you know Julia, and Julia's wonderful.
Yes.
She called me. I was actually touring with the Parkinson's play.
Oh, yes.
So I was in the airport when she called and she said, I have a role for you. Don't get mad at me. I'm like,
right.
Okay. She goes, it is for the older Tatiana. Oh. And she stopped. She goes, the wiser Tatiana. So that's what's on my contract now is the wiser Tatiana.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I wasn't really that mad, but
yeah, but that's funny. Oh my gosh. So
yeah, I will be mirroring the younger character.
Yes.
And just sort of enduring life as the older version, seeing what she went through.
That is awesome.
I'm really excited.
I so wanted to submit myself for that, but that's the weekend of Junior Thesby conference.
Oh, that's right.
So, now that I'm doing that, so I can't. Yeah.
So part of the reason we came here was to talk about your incredible organization.
Yes.
I know you and I could go on for like 75 hours.
I was like, well I'm here.
See how scripted we are
yes,
here?
I love it.
So you started Brave Young Voices.
Yes.
Which is an incredible program for youth. I am a huge proponent, as you know. My kiddos have done it.
Yes.
And it's such a life changer for these kids. So where did this all come from?
Oh my gosh. So there's two stories.
Okay.
So sorry, bear with me. So it's 7 years old.
Okay.
So Christy Vocalo, I met her randomly. She was at a show at Catco.
Okay.
And her friend Chloe, who I also knew when we lived in Chicago, saw me and was like, oh my gosh, Carmel. And so we chatted and then we met afterwards. And Christy and I had all of these similar things. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So then we just started, we connected and she was like, hey, I'm going to start a theater company, Good Medicine Productions, and I'm going to start this program, this show, Uptown Scrooge. I'd love for you to be involved. So we got involved in that. So, I started telling her about this idea I've had in my head for years and years to start a youth theater company where the young people write, the show. It's about their life and their life stories and the lives of the communities in which they live. And so we were talking about it and she had some press. She had an interview with the Westerville City magazine and she was like, oh, just so you know, I mentioned Brave Young Voices. So I guess you better, you have to make it happen this summer. I was like, oh.
That's a really good way to kick somebody into gear. Though.
I mean.
Put it in the press.
Because it was in the, in the back of my mind for years. Also, what happened was, this was 2016.
Okay.
During election time. And I have a really good friend whose son goes to one of the local high schools in Westerville. And some very cruel things were said to him, really cruel things. And he didn't understand why they were constantly saying this stuff to him because he wasn't even Mexican. And they were just saying things like, climb your back over the border, just really unkind, really, really cruel things. And it weighed on him.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
And so from there, I started actually a devotional with moms to really pray for the young people who were being attacked or accosted with these ugly things and worse, just really ugliness. But it also was like, when somebody tries, when they're in a really bad place, I'm like, okay, nope, that's not an option. That's not okay with me. I know what the arts can do. Theater can save lives. Yep. It's transformative. So this is why I'm going to start this organization. I'm going to go ahead and start it this summer.
So maybe it was truly the perfect timing for it.
It was. It really was.
Because it's not gotten any easier since then.
Sure hasn't.
No.
Sure hasn't.
Much worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a big deal. And the first year I had a lot of young people who had a lot of performance experience. So it was a different kind of animal. Yeah. And since then I've had mixed, which I love actually. I love having neophytes and I love having more experienced young people. I feel like there's so much value in that for them to learn from the more experienced and the more experienced to remember what it's like to really to be new at this and to gain that experience and expertise, right? In building on their craft. Yeah. I also love the idea of the 12 to 18-year-olds. I know sometimes they're like, oh, they're so much younger. But the thing is that the 12-year-olds remind the olders about being free and playful and joyful and creating, right? Character and not being like, I'm too cool for school. Yep. And then the 18-year-olds or the older teens really bring those young people up to their, in terms of focus, in terms of craft, or in taking it seriously, you know? So I love that so much because I've always had this thing about Brave Young Voices. Like, I feel like there is value to the program. I feel like it's, I find value in it. I've heard people saying to me that they found value in it, but I get caught up in like that polished end piece. And it's not polished end piece like you see in other performances, but I have to remind myself,
it's the process.
But it's a process, but it's also them creating it. It's not getting a script day one. It's them creating it. So we need that time to bond, to build community, to build trust, to get that writing, that really delicious writing that we can use in our performances. So now, even if you come and you're like, oh, I wish I could hear that, or I wish they did. But you still walk out, I think, touched by what they create, right?
And seeing both, since my kids were both in it, seeing such a change from performance 1 to performance 2.
Yes.
But then the talk back with the kids and just how over impacted they were by not just the emotion of what they did, but the process of the whole summer.
Yes.
And how they all stood together and how they worked together. Seeing my son grow from one performance to a completely different one the next.
Yes.
Made me cry.
Amazing.
Both, of course. But
I thought that was one of the most, I was excited about that particular piece. It was about ableism. And the idea we usually end on a positive, right? And we chose not to, because we wanted to help audience understand, like, look at what people have to do just to quote unquote be normal or be what you consider normal. It's exhausting, right? Look at what they're doing. They're literally masking themselves. And so for me, that piece, especially the last scene where he's covering, Gabe was covering himself. I thought that was really powerful stuff from doing, going through those different scenarios where it's like, okay, I'm wearing a mask, but now we're covering up my arms. Now I'm covering up my legs. Now I'm covering up my chest. Now I'm covering up my head because I have to work so hard at being, cool for you, Yeah.
Well, adults don't see that because we forget.
Exactly.
Or we don't say those things to each other.
Exactly.
And let's be fair, kids are mean.
Yes.
They really are.
Yes.
I love the pieces. I work with them all the time.
Same here, but
they're really freaking mean.
Yes. And we talk about that. We talk about what that looks like. We talk about, because for me, it's not just theater, it's theater for social transformation. So we're really trying to create a community within Brave Young Voices that they then can take out with them in other parts of their lives, right? Where I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy when somebody is bullying you or says something really mean to you for you to be able to say, there's trauma there and they're spewing it because they're hurting. Right. It's hard to take a step back and recognize that because you're so hurt by it. And so
it doesn't
we talk
change
about that.
Anything.
Exactly.
That's hard.
It doesn't. And it's hard, but it changes you because it changes how you react to it and how you decide and say, this is not my story, right? This is their story, and I'm triggering them or something is happening. And I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not easy for me, but if we want to not be afraid of other anymore, if we want to experience real inclusivity, we have to start with ourselves and have that moment of, I have to step back and recognize it is about them and it's not about me, right? There are no bad people, there are bad choices, and there's trauma that they are living actively, right? And making really poor choices. And then how do you collaborate with people who are so different from you? Those are the tenements to me that are so important about Brave Young Voices, and I actually feel like the talk back is even more important than the performance. Because they come ready, right? There is a focus, there is a maturity, there is a sense of civic duty, I feel like, that they come with, in talking about it.
And it's finally their chance to be like, okay, you shut up and listen to me.
Exactly.
And they don't get that.
They don't get that.
No. Ever.
Yeah.
Even when they're trying to get that opportunity, it's just not, we don't listen to the kids enough.
Right.
They are so smart.
Yes.
They're so smart.
Very.
And they are
very.
so full of more information than we think they are.
Exactly.
Gabe sat with, Gabe has that brain of knowledge that someday he's going to make me the wealthiest lady because of some Jeopardy that he wins to the end. That will be my son.
Love it.
He was telling me about different phobias and what they mean.
Yes.
Because he told me, and of course I don't know the name of it, but the fear of long words.
Yes.
Is an exceedingly long word.
Yes, it is. My girls were telling me about this a couple months ago. Oh my gosh, I bet you they watch the same YouTube
video. Yes,
I love it.
And of course it's all YouTube knowledge.
Yes.
But I'll take it.
100%.
I'm the dork that looks things up. If somebody's like, who is that actor? Hold on. I'll find out.
Yep.
Because I want to know too.
I want to know too. Yep.
But yeah, we laid in bed last night while he talked about, he said, I think it's just cruel that they would make the longest word in the world the fear of long words.
That's amazing.
But the way that his brain works.
Yes,
and
I love it.
Honestly, mine's the same.
Yes.
That kid and I are far too much alike.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just useless knowledge that we think of that maybe nobody else cares about. But it's pretty interesting to us.
It's good trivia.
Yeah. Very much so. I do love me some trivia. Yeah. So Brave Young Voices goes in the summertime.
Yes.
And it is like a 7 week
7
program.
weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
For ages 12 to 18.
Yes.
And auditions are coming up soon.
They are April 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, April 20th. And actually this season I had some homeschool moms come to me and ask if I would start a homeschool theater program. So we're doing a homeschool BYV project. Cool. Yes. Cool. So it's similar, but it's different. Is that it's 12 weeks or is it 15 weeks?
You're like, I just show up.
I just show up, exactly. One day a week for 2 hours. And with this group, because I had originally told them about Boxley, and I was like, no, go take classes or whatever. But they wanted also the performance experience as well. So actually, you're probably going to have some people come into the improv class this summer because I talk about it all the time.
Thank you.
So, anyway, we're doing that. So it's been great. So we're doing after school clubs. We're in school during the school day. We're we're doing this homeschool theater project. We do what we call Schools Out, where we're working with Warm and or other agencies in the summer and doing like just theater games and fun like opportunities with those young people that come for the lunches. Yep. And then our flagship program and professional development now too.
Love that.
Yeah.
Which I do have to tote Warm as well. For their summer lunch program is incredible. Yes. I'm sure not everybody knows about or thinks that they can take.
Exactly.
And my kids have partaken once or twice, but it's so good.
I was at the high school at South, and then the club, the park out in Sunbury. So I got to do 2 of those. And so I'm hoping we get to do more now that we have established like, oh yeah, this works. It fits.
Post-COVID, let's try it again.
Exactly.
Yes. So if people are interested in Brave Young Voices, braveyoungvoices.org.
Okay. Yes, is our website. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter too, but we're not as active on Twitter.
Does anybody use that?
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff, but it's not stuff that I realized I even signed up for. I was like, wait, I didn't know I followed this person. How did I get that?
That's right.
But anyway, yeah.
So when kids have to audition,
yes,
they do. You do chat with them just to make sure that they're kind of on board and understand.
Yes. So So what we do with auditions is we're not restrictive. You can bring whatever your talent is. So if you juggle, awesome. If you're on a unicycle, awesome. Whatever it is.
My kid did a monologue from the Goonies.
Yes, he sure did. In the car. It was hilarious.
We had to step out.
Exactly.
We were standing in a parking lot for 20 minutes. I did.
So funny. And so you bring that, and then I ask you a few questions. I ask you about do you know what Brave Young Voices does? Yeah. What made you want to audition? Like all of those different kinds of questions. And then I ask about your musical talent. Do you have musical talent? Since we write our own music, which I think is awesome. We've written some killer songs the last, several years. I think I have, out of 7, I think I've loved absolutely 5 of them. I love all of them, but like really, really love like 5 of them. Anyway, so you do that, and then what we do is it's a group audition. After you do your individual audition, it's your group audition. And it's almost like you're auditioning the program now. So you get a chance to get a sense of a mini workshop, like how we construct our rehearsals to see, is this something that you can jive with, right? Yeah. And then from there we make our choices and invite certain people, to the ensemble. So
I love that. It's such a cool group too. And those kids are so sweet. And every time I run into them at like a 4th Friday, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you.
Yes, I love it.
Although I'm Gabe's mom.
Exactly.
Gabe's mom. I don't have an identity.
You don't have an identity.
No,
you never will.
It's okay.
Amazing.
It's okay. Funny. I'm so proud of the work that you've done. And just to see it on the parent side of things and on the instructor side of things,
Thank you.
Your job is a roller coaster nonstop. I know that.
It is.
But if anybody can handle it, I know you can.
I like to think I can. Yeah. But I'll tell you what though, and this is a little bit somber, but I was going to take a break during COVID year, and I got some messages like, please don't take a break. Can you make it work? Can you figure it out? Because I learned some things that I didn't know before, that some people were really in a really sad place. And we're contemplating things that we wouldn't want anybody to contemplate, right? Doing to themselves. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, there's no way I have to do this. Yeah. And even last year, I was like, last year is going to be my last year. I'm going to bring in another director because I want to start to grow this part, of the program. They're like, not yet. I'm like, you guys, I'm getting old. I'm old and tired.
Just get Layla trained.
Yeah, you know what? I know she's my daughter, and I'm, you're supposed to like love on them, and but I kind of dig her thinking process. You know what I mean about Brave Young Voices, and a lot of what she said. Keys too, like just really gets it at a level that is really, it's more than heartening. It's like, this is what this program is about, and I want to train those people to come back and do this work. Yeah. Like, I would love Keys to come back this summer and be, my assistant, you know what I mean? But I know lots going on, so.
We need a job.
Yeah.
We are having to push that this summer, so you may not see my oldest one.
Yeah. Well, we do pay, just so you know.
I know.
Yeah, but no, it's not enough for them it to be.
If my kids figure out the theater pays, we're all done.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you.
Don't tell them this.
Man.
Did I ever tell you Gabe's first acting gig?
No.
He was pulled in very last minute for an Available Light show, which was incredible.
Oh my gosh.
About a week before they started, and they did give us a stipend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he took that as, I am paid as an actor. And so legitimately everything that's ever been offered from there on, he's like, so how much does this pay?
Oh my gosh. And then Brave Young Voices, even though it was very little, he got paid for that.
I mean, good on him for knowing his worth. I love that aspect of it, but it's like, dude, you should not be in the arts.
No. And I don't know if it's like that for these young people coming up, but when we were coming up, you did a ton of stuff for free just to get your face in front of people and get your foot in the door and all this. Yep. I can't tell you how many things I did for free. So much. But it was all really good stuff. Yeah. Some of it I look back and go, But some of it I'm like, yes, see, this launched you into that and connected you to this and connected you to that. Yeah.
I mean, the money's good too when it happens.
But. When it happened, when it's good, yeah. Oh, I remember my first commercial. I was like, oh, this is nice.
You like me. Exactly. You really like me.
Exactly.
Well, Carmel, I hope that you get amazing kids, as I know you will this summer. And I'm so glad you got to
Thank you so much. Me too.
For filling us in, and check out Brave Young Voices, because I 100% support and love this program. It's been such a cool thing for my kids to do.
Much.
And for community of Westerville and kids outside Westerville.
Yeah, 100%. We've had some young people come from Reynoldsburg and like Olentangy area. Yeah. Totally. And I can't remember what other places, but
Keep doing you, because you do amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. You too.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then let's take a break sometime.
Yes.
We're going to take a break sometime.
We're going to take a break.
We're saying that on camera so that we actually do it.
So we have to? So. All right.
Boxland Media. Think big.